We have a very special guest today, has already been on my channel. I've already been on his channel. We are very like-minded in this law of assumption, law of attraction space. The one and only Tim Grimes. Welcome.
Thank you, Marvin. I want to
Hold
do
on,
the
hold
real.
on. We gotta do that.
Hello. We just lost 50% of our viewership, but the people still here are very intrigued.
Yeah. Appreciate those are the real ones. That's all we're worried about. We're really
Hey,
only worried about those ones that stay.
that's what we were just talking about before we went live. Exactly.
But no, so Tim, I'm glad to have you back. You are one of the few people in this space, handful or less than a handful of people in this space that I enjoy talking to about anything law of attraction, law of assumption wise, especially when it comes to manifesting a specific person, because as you know, the market is so saturated with get your SP overnight type of material, get your SP in 2 days, get your SP in 24 hours. And while that sounds good, I think the law of assumption community has drastically misled people with their expectation of when to get a specific person. And we wanted to talk to the viewers today about the nuance, right? The actual nuance behind manifesting a specific person and what actually is going to go into what actually has to go into manifesting a specific person, because some of these content creators have just made it seem into something that it really isn't. And even taking Neville's work, because Neville is the one that is at the forefront of all of this stuff. They have taken Neville's work and they've made it sound like, oh yeah, Neville says this or Neville says that. And it really isn't Neville's teachings in a sense. It's kind of become the whoever the content creator is teaching. And I want people to understand Neville has done it. Neville does a great job of telling you what to do to go to the end, in my opinion, right? When it comes to manifesting anything, specific person, whatever, he does a great job of telling you what to do to go to the end. But in my opinion, what people like myself or what people like Tim, what we do is we do a damn good job compared to other coaches in helping you guys deal with the middle of that. So where you're at currently to getting over here to where you need to be, Neville, in my opinion, he's not one of the better teachers. And I know this is going to sound blasphemous for me to say, but he's not one of the better teachers, in my opinion, that talk about what to do in that in-between stage of manifesting a specific person. He'll tell you, go to the end. That's all you need to do. Or Abdullah will tell him, go to the end. And when you think about Neville even got frustrated with Abdullah when he was like, yo, you're in Barbados. He's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know, and you could tell that there was that kind of, Neville was probably getting irritated saying, like, what are you talking about? I'm in Barbados. What do you mean? Like, why am I already there? No, I'm not. I'm still over here in the States. I'm not even in Barbados yet. I haven't gone first class. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And so I've noticed that a lot of people, they have a hard time in really understanding and studying the in-between part. And I think, Tim, that's what we want to talk about today is, you know, really helping people understand that it's not as easy as just affirming and living in the end to getting an SP, and that you have to know how to navigate. And this is where coaching with myself or with Tim comes into play, because a lot of coaches, quite frankly, they're not gonna do that. There's really no coaching involved in this space. It's really just here's 5 affirmations or whatever, and I'm going to send you back into the real world on your own with no guidance, no nothing, you know. So I guess, Tim, you can go ahead and start to touch on that.
I'm amped. I'm trying to. I'm trying not to get too energetic right away.
Nah, we
Man,
need it.
you amped me up there,
Yeah,
Marvin.
we need it.
Marvin, you're actually, I think, the only SP coach that I talk to and trust now. I know some other good people in the community, but no one else who actually does SP coaching that I know personally, and does it well. And yeah, what you just said, oh God, that was good. What you just said is like, people really don't like to hear this when it comes to Neville's stuff. But if you have studied Neville's work and the work of some of his contemporaries and some of the people that came before and after him to talk about manifesting ideas, such as manifesting a relationship,
Right.
Neville does a relatively poor job at telling you how to go from point A to B.
Yes.
He tells you how to live in the end. He
Right.
does not tell you how to deal with quote unquote resistance all that often. There's
Right.
he sprinkles it in, don't get me wrong,
Yeah, he
but
does.
his teaching is so dramatic and so eloquent. It's like just live in the end. And it's so persuasive when you first hear it that you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do this and it's gonna work. And maybe it does work at first or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, it's not going to work long term for your big goals in all likelihood without some serious inner work and looking at going from point A to B. And that journey or process is really what, I mean, that's what this manifesting stuff is about. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So that's it, is the process. And as great a teacher as Neville is, what he's saying, living in the end, is not going to work for the vast majority of people consistently. What does that even mean? It means walking in the wish fulfilled. What does that even mean when you really think about it? You know, I did a video a few months ago, maybe longer now, where there was this great quote. I don't know if you saw this video, Marvin, where Neville's quoted, I think in the mid 60s, after the promise. And he's saying, you know what, all these techniques, all these things I'm basically famous for, he goes, all that stuff's just figurative. He goes, that's all just to get me to believe.
Right.
So it's like, what the it's like, wait, what? I mean, and he said that before. Again, this is not a heavy knock on Neville at all. It's just his approach is very dramatic. And if you can live in the end the way he described, yes, you've got a very good chance of manifesting what you want or something significant positive into your life. But all this stuff sounds great on paper or when you heard him speak at a lecture. But how about 6 months later when what you want hasn't manifested yet and you're full of all this doubt and fear that it's going to happen and perhaps shame for it not having happened, and you're going online looking for advice or getting quote unquote coaching when it's just emails or groupthink conversation or groupthink group coaching, and you're more lost than ever.
Right.
I mean, this is one of the several elephants in the room when it comes to the law of assumption in SP community, but it's like, I've worked with many, I don't consider myself an SP coach, but I love working with SP clients who want to work on the relationship they have with themselves, you know, people who are serious about that stuff. They're a pleasure to work with. And what I hear time and time again is they don't come to me first for SP stuff. Believe me, they don't want to hear Papa Bear Tim. They've you know, bought the pretty candy at the store and eaten that from the SP coaches.
Yeah.
And they've gotten coaching from SP coaches if they feel like they need it because they're desperate. And they've left feeling completely unfulfilled and perhaps like basically like manipulated in the sense where it's like they weren't actually provided strong emotional guidance grounded in their situation. They were given you know, rote affirmations or general recommendations for what to do, but it wasn't something they could integrate into their life emotionally, psychodynamically, and have it profoundly affect who they are. And you need law of assumption advice to affect who you are in order for the other person to show up, generally speaking, right? So yeah, I mean, we were talking before we started recording this. It's just like, it's kind of a bummer that people have no idea what like actual SP coaching is because so little of it exists, you know? And in my opinion, it's a lot like just going to counseling or therapy or doing serious inner work of you know, personal self-development work of any type.
Sure.
Serious inner work. It's not a fucking technique. It's your life. It's you. And it's very fulfilling to do that kind of work for any topic that interests you, just to try to feel better, right? Basically, and to have a more fulfilling life. But it's inner work. And that's what coaching is. So I know it pisses both Marvin and I off when people say, "Oh, why should I pay for coaching?" It's because you have no idea what coaching actually is.
Right.
So this is our bitch session of us just bitching about that.
No, you're right. It's and then when people do pay for coaching and it's not what they think it is, you know, then now they slap that stigma on all coaches. Well, I paid this coach and all he did was give me 5 affirmations, or I paid this coach and all they did was tell me exactly what Neville said and to just live in the end or whatever the case may be. But it's so much more nuanced and it's nuanced to the point to where I always tell people there's no one size fits all. And I also tell people, like I made a video about this recently, however many weeks ago. I made a video talking about, you know what? The one thing that and now it's good to get into alignment, whether you're following Abraham Hicks or Neville or whoever. It's good to work on your self-concept and it's good to get in alignment. But I literally made a video a couple of weeks ago telling people, you know what you may not be doing that you should do if you want to get a specific person back, whether new or old. And I literally said, make the first move. I said, now, what do I mean by that? An SP coach isn't going to tell you that. I said, but sometimes we get so caught up in thinking, I need to do this technique, I need to do that technique, not realizing, yo, we really live in this 3D world. This and all these coaches tell you the 3D is not real. The 3D is not real. Yes, hell it is. You know what I mean? Like the 3D is 100% real. We're breathing right now. We are alive. If you get shot, you're going to feel it. The 3D is very real, And so I told people it's good to do those techniques and that works. But some of these people I realized in working with people, they are still in contact with their specific person. Something else I realized with some of these people is their SP situation isn't as bad as they think it is. And so I'm sitting here, some of these people, I'm working with them and I'm thinking to myself, dude, all you literally have to do is just send a text to them probably. And
just talk to them.
Just talk to them and you'll probably get them back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's you don't have to do all this living in the end and
it's insane.
Meditate for an hour every day and you don't have to work on self-concept necessarily. It's literally all you have to do is make the first move. Send that text message, call them. And but see, these are the nuances, in my opinion, that people like yourself or me, we can point out and save somebody time potentially.
Save people freaking years.
Yeah, exactly.
And gosh, I mean, that's the irony is like, we've both made tons of videos on this. I've got my SP playlist where basically the one of the reoccurring points in almost all the videos is like, use common sense first when it comes to relationships. Don't do stupid metaphysical tricks that you don't really know what you're doing, instead of doing the right thing. The right thing usually being, first and foremost, follow the golden rule. Do unto others what you would have done to yourself. That usually means really good communication and being honest with the other person, even if it hurts.
Yeah.
Even if it hurts you. And that means talking to the other person, sussing it out. Texting is good. Talking like over the phone or in person is even better. Providing them the space to say what they want to say and listening to them. I mean, there's so many good, books and there YouTube videos from non-manifesting folks about relationships and just better communication. I really think following that kind of stuff is much more beneficial than most of this manifesting advice. And I mean that. Now, most of the SP clients I have are women, but I do work with men as well. We both are guys, especially for guys. Forget the fucking SP stuff. I'm going to have to use some gruff language here. Make the fucking move, especially if it's like you want to meet a girl or a woman, whatever. I'm not going to be that PC here, but it's like you make the fucking move. She wants you to make the move. That's very attractive. All this manifesting stuff is fucking C-, D+ material compared to I'm interested in you. Conveying that, being open and being like, oh, I'm intrigued by you. I'm attracted to you. That's how you manifest a fucking girlfriend, guys, generally speaking. And I mean, honestly, like this dating stuff, it's like, I've worked with a lot of guys on dating stuff over the years, and like the manifesting SP stuff, like for just like meeting a woman, if you're a guy, that's not like high level shit. Like it's not as good as like just being like authentic and like, in showing your masculinity, showing strength, but also openness. That's much more attractive than fucking this stuff. Now, if you've been in a relationship, if there's a lot of back and forth, if you want to really energetically connect with someone, some of this SP stuff can be very helpful. But especially if you're a guy. And this goes for women too. If you're a woman and you're attracted to a guy, if you can somehow convey that, again, this can be subtle, it can be nuanced, but if you can convey that openly, that like you're interested in just finding out about this person because you're interested in them, that's incredibly attractive. And most guys are scared too. They're not going to be like, well, now let's go on a date, but you can lead them on. The woman can lead in this way. It's just a fucking relationship. This is the easy part, is getting into the relationship. We'll go, I mean, we've talked about this before. Maybe we won't get into it because we'll both go off on crazy tangents, but once you get into the relationship, that's when the problems really start, guys.
100%.
That's the real shit.
100%.
Like, come on, you got to deal with shit. I've been married for, I don't know how long I've been married for. Gosh, I've been married for 11 years, you know, and like, I still have to talk to my wife and have difficult conversations with my wife all the time.
Right.
And I would have what you would consider probably a pretty good relationship.
Right.
It's like, where's the SP stuff there? The SP stuff is golden rule, listening. It's not like, oh, she's in the other room, I'm going to fucking visualize the end result of her coming in happy. No. Honey, do you want to talk? Let's talk. You're mad at me. Okay, let me see if I can listen. Okay, I might need to sleep on this, but I'm listening. I love you. I love you. Oy, fucking vey, Marvin.
That was great.
I'll give you 5 affirmations and everything will be solved.
Yeah, right.